Everybody, I want to hear you. Let's go. Come on. One more time. Come on. I like it from Aka on guitar. I can't hear you. Break it down. I want to hear that. Let's go. Come on. Zoom. I want to hear the man.
But for good evening, and Mobibia Fishapa. We are in the year 2026, and Nyame Adom, I'm very happy to come here once again. Now, my father konya we so na me wish your listeners ni viewers ni na so afishiapa mo amwo Deliman mo amwo Achimhiman mo amwo Rara mo amwo T-Regent nkwanta bebia mesremo mo wi afishiapa na ye do bo ade say wahwe so na ode bedru 2026 mu. We are once again back, and this is the first ever edition of the 2026 Nokware Mmre live on TodayGhanaNewsTV, your number one favorite. And when it comes to politics, entertainment, we are graphics, you know, you chum, you pull, and say you do the same. In fact, you me feel one just listeners, viewers, in other romantic. Afishapa, a same common we be as answer. The panelists are mobile show ni swing na presenters be a Afishapa come be a co-presenters ni na so Afishapa kese nkoma me boss Penny Saturday Mr. Only no she from January last year to now. Boy Juma Papa who said today TodayGhanaNewsTV economy na konkan na gidin e wa me na che Penny Saturday she chira samre odi enim abeto no she chira opimpiane mama you media ni your channel so very active. Now we are back with another interesting edition of the show that is Nokware Mmre on your favorite channel, TodayGhanaNewsTV. Mr. Mo, we are live via Twitch on the satellite, Samsung on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Oko our search handle here TodayGhanaNewsTV. Associate channels are some we making sure say omo de come mia e ma ye gidi no show ye ebia obi a oni Facebook so ana bibia so OTB e won chen High FM 93.5 eno no Achimhiman Samsung Kings Radio e wa Accra Jamframa TV or Rara T-Regent Sakina Information Center eno at the totally in the northern Ghana Adeliman Community Information Center so no kwanta samre ukosha umebiem ha obia gibre aji nkonwa mobeti dwumedi we Fans TV wa Flow Sami maybe pacho uko Facebook YouTube nso a search under near ba ko TodayGhanaNewsTV boso mame ye beba uba ade ba ko pena message so be ya mame make sure say you like, you share, and also share your comments, your thoughts, and your opinions in ano you ha say be kan ni na mamo. This is the way I interact na di dwumedi ni boom, so don't get it twisted. And show no be lovely say because opening back Bennett okoshi ma waba bro nye die one opening ajima be die na say bro nya na ohwa o my ready so mbedi me omu kakabo ma no new account na ekọ enim santi viewers ni na so benya bi anya bohre mesremo men say mekra no let me go straight no before I will do that I would like to touch on one of few things that somebody did bro nya we ni course we Ghana me I feel say it's not good enche bia na ye koda sorry ya ye hu say fire service encounter issue bia co-journalist copy one match say mo bu no prepare na fire service for there nanka mo da makoma so papa because I feel say all the security service no they be ameka all the security service na fire service na ye sha ye undermine your pa like they don't put in much resource and all that nti media as a journalist ye bi bo amode nka ye ni bedi mu adwuma na chi said be project because akadia ni tools na mudi adwuma no kranka muni bi so je ni she barras ye providing with bibia navy wo barras ye providing with bibia police in crowd barras fire service they be ni crowd we dey jeto bibia na frefre workers omuda mfie se momra na yin na yenko sometimes the taxi car na mdeko nti modi na nke ni di machi pa na ba na sign na mko journalist fire service we no a lot of the organizations or government bodies now have come out to condemn it. In fact, GJ, and so the Omodia by a condemning, but in Chai crack fire. Uja, Jamuye in Chai crack. We condemn this act. However, or whatever the case was, it shouldn't have gotten there. Some so journalism. Semu bu journalists for and amu bu media na the third and the fourth arm of government. So bu media ni it said they watching abai nipa na abono because you are the fourth arm of government. In fact, you can nka ye tum na you can show bia so because you bia ye bia hwe no. Nti se utimi de onsa ka abai nipa na se watomra na nka wo de onsa ka media ni so watomra. Men kasa bebre semra mpemfo aso asem no mudi no way there's nothing like investigation you act we saw how these men were beaten this journalist. And it's uncalled for. It's very appalling. Shame. You see, these days, no, shame. We will name and shame. The authority or the leadership of the Ghana Fire Service should bring these people out. As such, I said, we name and shame them. Journalists or all the information about reporting issues. Whatever the case was, and can amicably, even if he's trespassing, and can amicably. To the point that bu journalists, more bono, Asian attire. Can box expand KB? Why? In fact, major, but I'm still in the New Year mood. There are a lot of issues that we want to tackle. Now, before then, let me zoom in straight to my panelists. I want to give them some few minutes. No, okay, hold on. Let me zoom in straight to my newspaper front page. Now I'm cover and some because and then panelists me who much started kasana at twaso sa. Until they are cover me newspaper no and some to me copy front page. The Evening Tribune, the Ghana Hanum and some in fact, blowing media for being mad at the Evening Tribune here, Juma. Now, and only newspapers, I mean, who say yes, the Koba Ghana in a biawu. Just say, you been female for being counting cabin ship. The Tiano Sapa Pen Evening Tribune, a report. Ghana's only watchdog. Now, some copy front page one, a be ena, Mede Brewi. Osha. Oman Penny President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and picture a bohon Kessie I see no third term for Mahama. NDC declares. A some way Akwe pa your Maya rule of law Juma. In as much democracy is also working rule of law Juma to be short and 24. And your matter to come said a bill bian koye BBC. Nemum Acquire say will be whisper, be whisper, and no cray. In fact, and ye be doing come. Ye shows opinion Jemai, so may I mean your Kwame Jemai. And also before Kunya we saw a church and some Morgan and Nibiat in Wase. And see, national dear, like I said, no, a proud show, and Bibia Subecoso, or show movie, Yana Mashanos. Am I? Or of what Samson was share the Evening Tribune, people no more. One start right one more. That about me be zoom in, kaka. In fact, my people engine man for whom sema ekoso boldly. Na ye who the ekoso of people no. Na uko pima. And some day be nature go. That ye me free so cry na among whom the people no. Until crank can come anybody. People ne here. Because Evening Tribune paper there come chemo enye nkwala paper. I say Ghana alarms over US military action in Venezuela demands release of President Maduro. In some way, see and so a hot cake. In some way, go or the four NPP's image in free fall as diaspora communicator warns party faces deep trust deficit. And something they be tragu. Yes, we will say Becca. And see, other for some race on Sanka, the Evening News, the Evening Tribune, newspaper Nibia, Mr. Bibia or Ghana Bian, Copebi kind. Copebi kind of one year. In crown, some each other who watch I did bring Abazia, Mobile Council Studio, opening at Sounds opening Bennett Conedu, and also and then Rebecca yes, a cheap na Mumfa New Year wishes no Mmre na for the medium. Ye call ye gin Munchia New Year na break na bas. Yeah, so me pay for Aquaba. Me pay for Mamaju, Obeni Bennett.
Yeah, minia. Mechao. Na machia.
Open mo akaba.
Mejo supi minia. Na apombo kodia.
No na FSA. We di bronye.
So aja abam papa ba ma bia kan wa ha.
Kama.
Abam papa ba.
Kama.
Abam papa ba nti aja e bia kan wa ha. Yeah, na apombo kodia.
Nyame adum.
Ede nyame ase.
Tunchiama nipa menu bi na menje openi ajimanso de na ewi ana itwa ho ba na de ato so.
Yo me da ase. Minia mame fancha kase ma ya hwefo na yatiefo. Na me ma ye nyina so afihyiapa. Na yen kan kire ho se afre asase yi. Onyame kan ye ho na onfe ye nko se 2025. Ode ye fa mu ma na Ghana eda ba no. Saa ode no nko so enya saa mayen. Nam de ncha kase Kofi Akoma eye Yewura John Dramani Mahama one na Chibambofo ene ye maame eye vice president na Jeno Puku Ajiman me ncha kase Koma no na me de ncha bi so Koma eye party chairman eye Yewura Johnson Sidin Katia ene general secretary eye Yewura Pipi Kwete ene party leadership ni nyina titu minua Peter Mensah ye deputy CEO Emma Tematopia Limited. Midin Shakasie Emma woni minua Kojo Dankwa. Nya kese mum na South Africa also na midin Shakasie Kakoma eye ya nkasa ye ambassador eye His Excellency Benjamin Kwashi midin Shakasie Kakoma no say over the week last week Initial Emma ye deliberate on issues Emma o ma Ghana for wa so assurance say yenti na wo ha enti no or try say obe resolve issues at Ghana for no e dey amenti me check say be call Pretoria na me dey ha koma no one na Chibambofo nyinara enti menia me dey besia na ma sa chetie for na hwefo so biem me da se pi
That's opening Ajiman how dey be to Ghana you are na etwa ho kakraba
Mede asede edi kan be ban otwedi ampon totrobonsu se wode atwa afi 2025 asundwiem a ye ho ama musuo ne esan bia sanse na adu ne mobro hunti na yera so tim kwam waya ade anti e de aseda be ma no all this year enema esisi akese nipa free mo ensem esisi o man mo na nye ensem ketwa enye o man Ghana ewi ase be bia 2025 na nye easy enti say Nyankopon timi ahwe so na odi atwa na say anti atinkan boni bia na e de aseda ebe ma no na afi yada Nyankopon ase awie no ye de ani akire fie na yada me de bia me kansa wo ye Latter Day Saint Ura John Dramani Mahama ewi Mmre mu ono ni nipa Nyankopon yi ni say onfa Ghana enkobo hye assassin so isan say mfie nwotwe a Ghana ye ko nkwaso te say museum fo no Nyankopon efa Latter Day Saint Ura John Dramani Mahama so boni otwa to e wa wi Mmre mu o my Ghana ebeyi Ghana for free ahohihiem eye MPP amamu kotobekuma free 2016 besi 2024 ahochom de Ghana for free mu a Nyankopon adaroma afi Ghana for nyina ate denne nanka from 2016 besi 2024 ebedubro nya bia na awofo esu emo boa ye den anwa boa ye den kontomire nyina boa ye den nyame adom afi wi ante sa de wisi bi kire se aban papa aba yebesere Nyankopon ho bambo sonko nyansa ene nimdie ahoden kese e de ama no se be bibia obetu na namosi bia na Nyankopon emfa ho no nyina anhye ne nsa o mani nimdie di buman o mani nimdie eburu so bema o man Ghana etimi afa na ntuma pefra amenchia party mpanifo nyina efri national chairman national secretary eba besi diaspora mamba Freiburg na ba betia mpanifo owura emos sisi awo Ghana awoje wa home kakra da bia obi a metia matia menua Jonas Kwashi eye youth organizer wo Freiburg wonso wa bedru Ghana sisi be bia obi a metia matia me anka se menua Imano ba bia osibia no metia unua kwa me agimanye be ntie mu odene ema na menko Denmark na menko chia abusuafo ho no menchia me ankasa me sister Rose Oseyaw Rose Osey Akoto ununua Samson Oseyaw Akoto Rose Bafo Akoto mungina mo Denmark abuchimemu na afi mimre fi na mfe mani nkyere ka so a ocha ade me ankasa me nua set baby obi a mechia na memfa mani nkyere me ankasa owo me
Hey, signature.
Elizabeth Elizabeth Boduwa
Ene nka wambo kra nka yempon.
Ma mo de anese ma ambasu so Elizabeth baby ya no me de nchie mu odene ye wa ankasa obakwa me agye mani me de nchie emu odene ema me tie busuafo ho nyina na quickly no onim se menua yeso ya yeyi enye Ghana nko ekọ ewiase afana ba bia
international
ekọ international onim say on the next month of this month of 15th of January and Uganda election. So I'll take this opportunity to advise all my people in Uganda to take action for our dear sister, mother, our lovely wife, and everything for us to take massive vote for this our sister Jacqueline for councillor number 5, Palabek Abla sub-country. This woman is a woman of vision. This woman has humanity at heart. She's a woman who has the whole Uganda at heart. So I will treat everyone to take this into consideration on the 15th of January 2025 to choose nobody than our sister, our mother, our wife, our everything. Action Jacqueline. Vote for the rainbow. Rainbow is the color that shows the unity of universe. So I will treat everyone in Uganda. Alaba Sub County, number 5, constituency. Vote for Jacqueline. Jacqueline stands for peace, unity, and development. According to Jacqueline, she says, together we can. So I will treat everyone to take note on 15th of January 2025 for the upcoming general election. And I wish you peace and successful election for upcoming general election for presidential and parliamentary election, which will be taking place on next week of 15th of January 2025. So, Minia, ma can say we na yediani e ne de ani chiri ni aba betia abusuafo aka nyina afi so na me ankasa menua yi adom ba bia obi an so metia esa se metia won ka chepa menim se mu boduma o friends South Africa ba bia mu bia no be den tia kese ema na ye communicators no mu ye adwuma ofidie su nyina so matia obi a Dr. Bongo ba bia obi an no ye tia enne me de se wa ntimi ama ntimi so se ba bia obi a Odabi me pese ontie nokre so ono ba so a o ka nokre on kyerɛkyerɛ nokre mu ma nipa hu program ye nokre me oba no aba besesa no enti e me de se ne wa ma ene ombi na so pefe no ntie ekwan a e fa so e ka nokre enti ontie bi baby obi a na ye de ntia kese e mu odi man na me ntia ni aka se producer owura set baby obi a na ye tia o se afi nyina no wa chinchin afidie ni mfruma na yetimi ede nokre ehinta awo man ni mu aba beto etifo nim na yenye etifo our regular listeners baby bia obi a yedamase sansa fi munye diniye enye yije se obeto phone ana se obeto data na ode ba betie nokre but onim se enokre bekoso enokre nti baby bia obi bia etie bia our regular listener omo se ye program ni nyina so ye de chia kese be ma mo nya da mu nyina ma se mo nkoso na mo share na Today Ghana News TV de ye o hose de nokre ebebre mu na ba bibia obi a mo nkoso share na obi a enyanti all across all the social media platform ye o hose de nokre ebebre mu enti ye de chia be ma ye tiefo nyina sanse money edi ni throughout this year ya se afi fufuru we su ase yesere won se monye akonwa monye bre ne bre na bre bia no monye enko no se ne monye ko no afre yitwa mu no ne enko yanim this year 2026 mesre se obaso a no wa share na unu nso ye de enya bi etie na wotika kire hoi ebokuru enti ebe nokre se obehye na unu nso ate nokre endokre bekoso aye nokre na we nkankire we na we nkankire na we nkankire na ebe ma man akoso enti mesre se wa beti sa asem bia no share obaso anu share na unu nso ye de ahubi na today Ghana News TV yenku yenim na yefa yentoma pafra na yenyina no onso onye nyipa enyi nim die yinim die nkyem ye ho nye fe nkyem ye nkosu kuku bia nkyem but ebre so a yenim nyina aba bagie akuna na ede o manum die hinta ase keta sesha ebne bi etwa mu ne niema atete akwansam ye de ba betudua na won so wonya bi atie no wakere wadwene de wo de ne se wo do adwene kire ba yitimi kan e ma so hu sampa won so you are part of the family enti ye besere se obi biara entwemen on se maninua winfree we na wo metna se ebre na so se de no kre ebem na obi am na meti bi na wadwen kire so e ba ye be kan ama won so hu se ampa you are part of us ye dwene mo into obi biara and share today Ghana News we are here to save better
Mirasi we ni say ya we de yem fasman ba ku bi entwa ye homra na yenkaje aboafo nkrato ye ba na afi de topic for discussion there are two table no so na mpenifo aboama ya pense mu wonso bebi a wo share wuti bia make sure say wa share na wo do wadin twa ba mami ntwa me hosma ba ko meba sesi a enko bebi a
Africa unite, 'cause the children wanna go home. Yeah.
Greetings, my name is Ras Mubarak. I'm a former member of parliament in Ghana. On the 18th of August, we're going to begin a very historic journey. A journey driving through 39 African countries. That's going to take us well over 4 months, driving for 600 hours, over 40,000 kilometers. And this initiative is endorsed by the government of Ghana. Why are we doing this? We want our continent to unite, and we want our people in Africa to be able to travel within Africa without visa restrictions. You see, Africa has enormous potential beyond anybody's imagination. And if we are united as one people, one continent, if there are no restrictions for us to travel to each other's country, you have no idea what we can achieve together. The economic benefits are enormous. You know, the cultural exchanges, the opportunity to, study and learn and tour and see each other's country is just amazing. And so we want you, my friends, to support this. And we appeal to African governments to support the initiative so that together we can make Africa visa-free now.
Africa unite, 'cause the children wanna go home. Yeah.
Leaking. A spirit that places the people and the well-being of the people ahead at all moments. So these days it saddens me when I see so much sycophancy creeping into our party. I see a group of people who obviously, from every indication, they believe that singing the praises of a leader is the only way they can survive. And that's why you hear some of those people even urging statements like there should be a third term. It's just nothing but sycophancy. Pure sycophancy and bootlicking of the highest order. Jerry Rawlings, who was the founder of this party, never at any point was urged by anybody to go for any third term. And you have a bunch of sycophants who today think that all they need to do is to sing praises and hoping that somehow those praises will get them some opportunities that they are looking for. You don't love our country. You don't love our party. If you do, you will know besides sycophants. It's important for us to appreciate that this party was grounded on the need to work for our people. We say cadres may go, cadres may come, but the revolution has come to stay. That simply means it is not about individuals. It's about us as a collective. Even bootlicking.
It also we and the criminal live on Today Ghana News TV. Mia ne maji dwumedi ya. Meti akonya kese so edi ho chia me medin Lawrence Apieni. Yebo a obotimi afrem na na Kofi Apieni ebo nso maji oso. Misrewo yekotwa ye ho bae ne mpenifo isa abro bi akasa na emre ne du se nsem etwegu o Ghana no. Ebedi ho nkomo ya pensem pesim. Ye gi nkonwa se a wa wonim se we do it for God and the country. Enti ene ye topic no ensem ye no pe na imudo yie panti mesre bebia wo bia no bomodi ana sponsor for agin chebra ye be gibre na ya kan ama obi atibi sanso na meji obi bia se nka oba make sure say share button wo sabe boso na we mia so se wo share a ekwa ekire e ma fofo so enye bihwe na musu timi e be kan ho ma edwumedi bo me da se na enei wo share video ye boy ya na che se e opening fifi bia bi kwete na okasa no na nsema na okani na has got to do with Nkrofo Assembly omudine echi ekeka gu aso me opani mama be kwete tem emra na sesen nka wetimi akobiem nanso ese edu bebi ti se ya na enye fans a obeto ana enye itirimuda ba pani ntima na mum dwonman ne ho na hwan mu na ehye sansam mu kena e ma nsem we itimi kɔ ekire sa abre no believe e wo ina ne se ampa opani mama onya obekɔ tetem aman yeku NDC akeke sa tem we egu ana sa nkomo ye kɔso egu na den ene ewom mpenifo atena se Mamenko Openi Bennett Kunedu Yado, one founder for the NDC Communicators Network. On the SC na share. Na opening a thing catch a pa. Me sure send me a party by the Watibu Humbi. Nan semi, then a woman penny for Swabekasa. Yen no idea, Nankobiti my insight in depth na. Openi, Uti, their party chairman Fifi. Eka, then also what to so.
Yo, minia, medasipi na masan enchia ama yentie for ne ahwefo. Enemia the co-panelist enemi party member ye Rajman. Mechia opi na minia mpanumfo se de onim akono ona edinigina kono. Na asamba efia de mpanumfo anase efiefo ginidi no ona edi cafe no. Say course na eba no na eba not only from party members but from ordinary Ghanaians omo free say yehwe amamu aba atwam particularly from 1992 everything sabre na yehwe amamu a eba atwam ko na yehwe de Yewura General Mahama ANC ya na kamia kyerɛ ase yema no ebi ka ho a anse ma no kwata tema anka ebebo man no mpuntuo na obekaya ohwe countries bi ti say Russia money Rwanda money ade a omon president no anase omon prime minister matena konya so ache me make reference to Rwanda ohwe Rwanda na mo tu from 1994 ekum say abre ya and omo aye poster boys on continent mu a obi make reference to adia FBA and as of maya ne success story what replicating na Rwanda your man back one amount for ta ebodin pa na so course na ye make no na awase ye de enye your constitution no say constitution na assemben na eka constitution is at any point in time no president no one term and if say the modern so and na Ghana for ehun mobo number samani bi mo a that person can only go for only 2 terms and Yewura General Mahama ye nyina ebeka between 2012 and 2016 no obesom man no as president ana Ghana for ya sa kan say sebi onkotena se kakra na ye fa nipa ho from ra eno na namu ma ye di Yewura Akufo-Addo e betena konya so na 2016 April 2025 January Yewura General Mahama ebe fa akunya no ye nyina ehu enoma Ghana for your firm. Say San Noma your firm, eno near the Toto Amamua and your Roman Mahama Abu in the last 12 months now. And the may boom, as you say, Sanke, my Roman Mahama Quine Manasa could be more and Kebebwa. Nanso so said the medical kind, your constitution is stipulated clearly as a only 2 terms. And even with those 2 terms, only if the people of Ghana are happy with you. And on the mount mandate, number 4 a second term. And of course, your Romani Mahama so Edika Babonti, Ebeka said, Sabi, you'll be a very democratic. And on that there, a day, Yamano, and as a democracy, about to jeopardy. Into Babonti clearly be addressed, say, he doesn't have any intention, say, or call for a 3rd term. And he's Wabase in the 4 years at the Amano, or be building a strong Ghana. Now building institutions up in the power of Kumiano after the 4 years. A bed didn't say the Panabo on do against now, while making Ghana. And clearly, we've all seen the improvement and change of governance in the last 12 months. And for me, as much as say, call no legitimate, we should also consider the fact that peace is very fragile. And say make certain requests and I say suggestions that we should be very, very mindful of the fact that we live in a country where we neighbors or much be our political issues, and all those issues have to do with the leadership of the party of the country. And you're taking clue from all countries, and you can say the constitution, and so the media can at any point in time the president will have 1 term. If the people of Ghana are happy with you are likely to be given a 2nd term. And John Dramani Mahama has been given a 2nd term by the people of Ghana, which is his last term. Of course, there were greater majority of parliament. Ebianka, you bet me at the amend your constitution, Nebianka, I call for referendum. Now, you say.
Open you all. I think so. Opening make it we be na video na you kaka yenhwe na sabe yem opening agima Mmre na ne insisi so ananka e na ba opening agima.
Yeah, minion.
Bacho enkomo ye di about bua ekoso enkofo bi kase your man penny possibilities of a quarter term high. Sammy party penny for abubuegu mu na mo inside. Monto so amoka to saying.
Okay. Medawase na machi for bio na free. Yehwehwe mu ni nim de kakra ifisi ewo e de abreti for na tifo so actually ekoso NDC amanyuko no. This time me to the advice to my party people. Do you know, say, Minua, a diesel engine car? It is supposed to be driven frequently because this is how it was designed for. By running hot in order to burn off the carbon deposit in the engine. That is diesel engine. So by having a diesel car, you need to prepare for a long distance. After one destination, prepare for next destination. So unfortunately, that is how life was made or designed, like a diesel engine car. Any diesel engine car need to run long distance in order to make the engine healthier. So by having a diesel engine car, which stay for long for undriven, then prepare for damages. What am I trying to say? Let's make compare and contrast.
Okay.
Here lies the case. NDC is like a diesel engine car. We were made or we were designed to run for very, very long distance journey. That is how NDC was designed for. So basically, from one destination, our next thinking or our next movement is where to move for the next few moments or for the next few hours. That is how NDC was made for. And it is unfortunate, that is how life was even designed. Life was designed like diesel engine car. So basically, NDC, it has come to a point to say, majority in parliament of which we can do anything in favor of us. Is it that right? Anu yeno a tea for her. Is it that force? Anu yeno a tea for her. So the first I'm trying to say, impo or my penny, I made my friend the Latter-day Saint John. Or say a kunasu CCA. Or ye na dwene say, me so, me you be back, me a family member, me wo yere woma, me so me hear me private life. Me could be who is the next? That is what we need to think. And yet, so no be quoted and on so be forth. And no doesn't come in. As a diesel engine car, we need to think about the next destination, not the driver. So as a NDC, my advice to my party people to produce more drivers. So the car is the NDC, that is the diesel engine car, of which we need to think about the next destination. Where are we moving to?
And on about my next question. I think they all kind of about my next question. Now, said the Moka say, Ed Naya, Ibinum Air Cassa, Ed President Mahama Uncle for the third term. No, doesn't mean a money candidate.
Yeah, let me come in. That is why I made
candidate for elections.
Yeah, were most qualified and competent people. That is why I made this case Matudi said advice to my party NDC. Express a DNT will be a call for Ora JDM. Express should be a what they did at or minor any the party at large. She said, or started from assemblyman and what the Ababedu Sabri. Express said he was made different amount others. A DNT and and then ye calling for inputs what yes or bequa. And so no ni honoma, why view. And to me, the means you because program I name there's a friend and Nokware Mmre. We are here to make truth to the general public. Say, if say, okase miya kasa krana inkubiwa eriye beyer. Or he also need his private life. What I say, wabesumo mine yesi bema biyi wa meaning na. And no one is custody of knowledge. Say, ye bibi sha wonsa tene wonsem biwa sum ema afoforo. When we say basically, most of our appointees and call for bitterness or say if you can offer be an offer. What kind of reputation are we building? It is an over JDM or year from assemblyman to Denmark and then Quebec call for say a person be quartet man as uncle it depend on relationship towards your neighbors. Yes, say a honor is a burden edija on the swell. And to say be bintiness a ubenya akwanya or so oberform to the grassroots. Yeah, our current appointees, a dear no more year at grassroots. As at now 1 year ni ye jubilate the same 1 year nkofo susu. Say empo enipa bia ye support wo mu eboa wo mu ebo de rodi ye craft to homa wo mu ene crowd friend na omfa. Ebi so na kasa enipa so qualify for the next position. Anka yengile biti ni ato. Enti say unya a friend say akwanya bia say wo besom man no wo besom no obusua. Also ubiem enti di enti na sempo ura JDM say me nko biwa. Who is the next? That is how I was thinking. Say NDC was made to run long term in Ghana. We have the diesel engine car, which is very healthier. NDC is the most popular party in Ghana as at now, of which me engine free and some. Aka yenia yebe build it friends a trust to build the whole country at heart. Yetimi atwaso akobio. Already dim we nipa. Do say and you'll be a bit my by man penny. You only pay more no matter how you think. Young point said that bomo special ultimate gym free because all share from a repetition from primary school boys SP session leader the about running presidency. Extra said he was made special. And then the man here unique or nipa ni pantem. NTS. Yɛnhwɛ ɛkwan a friend say owura miankasa menua appear stadium otimi ɛde no ho nyina bɔ afɔde de ma no ɛkyerɛ sɛ nipa no wonim de waya ma no. Most of our leaders are become most ungrateful. Say after I say mpo wo ku ho ma no na ni wura fi say ɛnam wo so no kupi ho appear stadium ɛka owura ɛka enema owura JDM ayama na kyerɛ sɛ ɔsɛ ɔde no ho to fam ɛdaadaa no ho ɛma no. Say nipa we say ota na chia e dey na chia say bit me atwe na sign appear say you know from MPP but the ohu ye actually say already dey mtimi ko twe appear stadium from MPP and then we be die hard member of NDC yem panyimfo no manya position no impact be no omo ye e dey at grassroots say impomo ma benya
the decision of the president ono aka say onko biem.
Yes, that is
now. No, he has from now till 8 months time. Can anything change? You wait to understand decision because
yes,
according to the win or the larger number, which he can easily.
Yes.
But we bet you understand him.
We nipa. So we're thinking about 2 dimensions. He can decide no. He can decide yes or no. Anything can happen. So that one we leave it to nature to take it.
Now I say. People are calling. So what if the majority of the people, not even appointees, but Ghanaians, voters?
Yes. And no, I make say majority are calling for the Latter-day Saints. Not the baby I'm we Latter-day Saints. John, where we remember or no need power back when upon CC and Ama or my Ghana. Say umi Ghana for free amuchi Ghana for crabby timakas okay tintin train yen to also abem you tana so akop me say otwedian probeto nsafro and also the will of Ghanaians we can decide because ye hunu 2025 December brunya yi akyere sampa ye leader ne leaders so they say enti oye special nya consider e born different say ewi me umi Ghana for free amuchi enti say Ghana focus say on transfer ono wo pepa no se ohwe na pomudine na ohwe na busua ne bibia so okay eni obi en bit ma be sofo ni nyina so kan nyame adwuma no nti metena so aso oman na eye amen ema oman Ghana se ye de empire bo ebeta na chi ne de odo beta na chi na ye nyina no ya bo no ma na arane oman no na onya na ntuma pe efra se ne na menua yadom ekan ohwe oman bi ti se Rwanda any aman bi hɔ no ma ɔmo mpanyinfo no atena so akyɛ no ɔmo atimi aboa ma ɔman no anya na ntoma pefra enema bibiri hɔ no ma ene ye use Rwanda as a reference point say ye kɔhɛ Rwanda ye ka former Rwanda enye ne Rwanda na nke ene credit be 20-30 years ago ne de hɔ no kyɛwa na unko because of ɔmo man etete pansam ye but it takes a leader like JDM Urapo Kagame and obetana so watimi atoto niema ama Rwanda adane Rwanda and yingina Africa you use Rwanda as a reference point to our side. So I say it is Ura JDM decide say media me ba me bo ha nti na kire say Ura JDM decide say bibinti mintimi nko biwa fine na yen ye eno ye friends ye hu aduru a memede ba beto abusuafo nim se mom ye hu aduru na whoever ya mo akwanya se beso oman na also tere leadership skills a owura je di yam e say from class prefect section leader sa basic boys SP from boys SP ba assembly minds ade ba be pre e kire say otini passe
Okay.
odonipa oba from manipa so I say but who are just appointee keke ye frewa omfa omanfo kura enhu ye be hu a instead of you to think for the next generation you are thinking about the next election of which are in fact you're only 3 years from now because a bit to MPP now so 8 years no gu na egu masu and Ghana for some month na and change what na fe intermediate this is advice. NDC was designed like a diesel engine car. We were designed to run for long distance without brake. And this is opportunity for us. Share a kind MPP Ghana for far so able to MPP out. No the NDC better. It's just say you to 2 year. Sky is our limit. We can do more. Yeah, say you better take 3rd or 4th term. We need to go further. It must say yenya akwanya awo amanyoku no mu no ene ye wo pepa say ye pese ye sun oman no oman ye bi ya sun esan say enipa na ye besun no say ye befre wo na wo mfa bi kura na bibi na asi ene ye pese ye ka kirew ana say obi ehia support bi na ye befre wo na wo mfa no de apart from JDM hardly let me put it on record say sa papa we pe ene wo sa timan ona ne ba fo emehi intimesere say ye ni aka chire no yensu yensua no na oni ho no ma ya mre so ade ase tetem yi e chire say yensesan yesu na whoever wo ya appointee wo ya minister wo ya hwanhwane no brafom eko okura ase na dati bi no ohia mboa na say bibi akonwa bi beto no ma ya bodi aka say nipa so mesi ni ho no ma ya mfa ma obi a we a sign for NDC because we were designed to run Ghana so that kingdom come. Failure to do so, Bekakoha or my Ghana in the next coming years. Intimate say, Mumbi in ano, Yenyakumako. Now JDM. Reconsider your decisions. Mestre, reconsider your
decision is saying, say, oh, Beba Bima Nasoba.
The tears of my Ghana Hiano. And then this is Ghana.
President John Mahama has only 8 months into his presidency recently declared that he has no intentions to run for 3rd term in office. His declaration obviously relates to Article 66 of the 1992 Constitution, which states that a person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms. Okay, let me move on. The issue as to whether or not Article 66 of the 1992 Constitution closes the door on the extension of the president's term in office after he has served for 2 terms has recently begun to engage the minds of Ghanaians. Let's just say the Constitution under Article 290 classifies the Article 66 under 8 entrenched provisions which can be amended through detailed procedure as outlined under the article. Let's just say, even though Penifua Kasa, Papa Nso Akwenya so Obekasa, na Yenshe. The Council of States, the Council of State, the Electoral Commission, and the voting public of the Republic of Ghana. Thus, the presidential term limit, even though they entrenched under the Constitution. We na make Constitution nakasa enso the amount for bekani na no itimi esesa opening adwense ombra na se oba yen share the consequences yen share how because if the president decided to obeba 3rd term, let's look at the amendment processes. I say running confirm and that period, no the time and maybe say it mean makwan masa 3rd term no isi na mama invite opening konedu Mmre no handle this particular one for me. I think after that, no, I try some about to open ajimai. Well, mamiko opening kunedo. Na menje I think he was on the black. He was talking before at the line. No opening. Question it here. Does the presidential term limit, even though they're entrenched under the constitution and not set on in a stone that can amend it, provided specific procedures? And say you can say on term amendment processes near the idea of film period. It may allow my baby Sasiana. And as we talk about the time limit, let's also focus on what can happen, the advantages or the disadvantages. I think opening some of the advantages that we can boldly say or point our hands to when it comes to Rwanda and development. But we should also accept the fact that we are Ghanaians. We have different mentality, even though we are all Africans. And yeah, we are looking at our democracy near the idea. Opening Pameko, now I'm agenda on this. Opening Bennett. Okay, so opening your radio, I think now we Ghana for dream on this particular one. Specifically, the procedure of amendment of Article 66. Article 66 now, no, say intimi Emma or Mampeni Quine Mane running more than 2 terms. So, see, I know it's saying a dom doa Amayo Quire or Mampeni Ifrim. I won't see. Just a man who quine so to me amended. I was just looking at the time frame, but this article I'm reading says that the process has been initiated by the parliament and go through a referendum involving 40% of the voting public, which results in 75% of the voters at the referendum endorsing the amendment of the entrenched position to permit the extension of an expired presidential term. Sesana article we can ya started at that. We now just 40% is already gone. Now the extension a very successful. And even if a very successful, will it be successful under JDM? Said JDM is running for a 3rd term. And that process will not allow the time period now involving will not allow say president the sitting president John Dramani Mahama ever call for 3rd term. Probably it can happen to the next president. Opini.
Minya medawase na my akwanya odi amami. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
medawase. Yeah, medawase ni akwanya odi amami. The outline is very clear and sincere to our dear listeners or my fellow Ghanaians. Very some it is a Ghana for a G2 say. Best Mmre na Mmre Ghana for we nya de also ye koto so aba na se adwene ho bebre se ebeyi itipaye because yes am for the training to us all. I wonder why Mami Musa Minya, have you wonder why aeroplane and ship doesn't have side mirrors? Maybe our call. Yes. The reason is very simple. At that time or at that high speed, you don't need to look forward. You don't need to look behind whoever is chasing you or who is behind you. So aeroplane and ship doesn't use side mirrors. The reason is very simple because at that moment, I will take it off. Anything behind you is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Ship and plane doesn't have side mirrors. What I'm trying to say, NDC, we don't need to look back, say who supposed to approach us, say the will of Ghanaians. And at the rate of speed that Yashas Ghana for air core from 2025 up to now, we don't need to look back. Who is behind us? Because to Obia when I say it doesn't qualify to move on. Because you can't move on at the same time, look back, then you are still in the traffic. But NDC, we are far behind, we are far ahead of traffic. We are free trafficking, we are in the sky, we are on the sea. Any racist behavior, you are taking the lead. The only thing you hear say a unity, see a share your party man. Only thing you hear say any grassroots. Say if really
unity. And we can all attest to the fact that right now we're party man and to say the you or the other side, which is good. Now there may be success. Initiation of the process, no. I think you're initiating put that. Now let's consider the time frame process because Ghana, because of democracy, a far parliament, you're doing open same, you're and this is the amendment of the law. And looking at the time frame, yes, I do. If cover to say the more can, within as I tell more can. In fact, I best start John Dramani so on.
Okay, Minia. Yeah, didn't see a bear. I had to Mmre. And we don't need to go about. A friend say a tron you're dragging too much. And we have the majority of which are no minority can distract or obstruct the proceedings. And to see any baby, we even 8 months is too much. You better not so that way. And then anyone a friend said 1 year and you swear in. Can friend your media go up. Obi 8 years crown and to say 8 months yet. Sorry, I say it is a near appreciate and Yama already go within the last few months or terms, which is 1 year ago. And then watching the second year, which is on the 8th of January, and watching 1 year, a second year, Sir, time we any near media go up. At the end, I see a PCB, be beating me off strategy. So that's what I was saying. Yeah, no. At the rate any speed that you move Ghana and any corner, we don't need side mirrors. Here, driving mirrors to look back, to look whoever is chasing us. We rather need to focus on the speed of which we are moving, because to look behind, and the reason that we don't need side mirrors in air, no, because air flight or airplane doesn't need a driving mirror or side mirror, because the wind or the obstruction of a wind is enough to break it. To look behind whatever will take place our behind, and bit me distract here. So my advice to people is to unity. United we stand, divided we fall. And
on this note,
already said,
on this note, I think the internet, fair with opening the net. On this particular topic, then we can move on to the next topic. Yeah, Brainty, respectively. Opening the net. We are sorry now. I the internet how kakra. I've asked a couple of questions. I would also want you to touch on it now. You're moving quite Mmre.
Yo, Minia, Medasipi, so not me kuswa me kasa the statement I General Secretary make here with regards to one or more can say Yama General Dramani Mahama a second a third term. And so then he has come out publicly even before say Constitutional Review Committee Amodomo report on the Bebano. Now Wadika Babontin Abekan categorically say he's not intending to seek a third term. And said the Constitutional Review Committee and so do report by and I'm so say ampa Ghana for do na na ona mo consult o mo nyina na jitum say yes second term no okay na mum enka yetimi extend the number of years no from 4 to 5 and kebeboa, and that is what discussion I always see. I think say it been implemented pending the next election. Enti you already know my course now man for Emeki for him to go for a third term. I think say a call in the right direction to some extent, but generally and democratically, it doesn't sound too well for a country like ours. Yeah, setting a pace for ourselves as a true democratic nation within the West African sub-region and of course across the sub-Saharan Africa. Of course, I was saying a clear succession plan. Said the European Roman Mama can say or build strong institutions so that any power or seen a nine, it will be difficult for that person to undo a normal obey, and then you a normal way. And I think said maybe a term President Obama, former president of America, can say Africa needs strong institutions, not strong leadership. I think say European Roman Mahama buys into that idea, even though our power and uncle between the amount for course amount for making everybody through no or say no onion to where democratic person nti oba say your constitution na edebo man na bra no or undermine the constitution in any way or form nti ye na yitum as party members of course and ke benya say obi o abesi na nan no say ni pa na betutu na mo say Regent Romani Mahama. I think that is what we should be calling for, that Regent Romani Mahama pace now was set at all the president that was set at all the next person who assumed that office should be able to replicate the same steps and answer the same president now Regent Romani Mahama at that one, so that it's not just about individuals but about institutions that work efficiently for the benefit of all Ghanaians. I think that is what we should all be calling for. On the issue of Yura and I mean Fifi all can say the people calling for a third term, sycophants. For me, I feel that was quite too harsh. As much as he all points say or make his statement, and I think being general secretary of a party, Iowa, some of these harsh comments could actually demoralize people. And identity going forward, we need to look at how I address people, especially in public, so that we don't tend to offend people. I mean, so also prior to 2024 December election, I've heard the spirit of the party, people, particularly those at the grassroots now, it was very, very high. Today, if you're called back to the grassroots, there is so much resentment, particularly when it comes to people who have been appointed to serve in this government. Some of our people not actually say show some level of disrespect. And those are the kind of things the party should begin to look into. And likely when I met the High Commissioner last week, maybe Sano, and I spoke to him about that. Say there seems to be a lot of dissatisfaction among the grassroots of the party with regards to how some appointees are conducted or any other. So the party should begin to look into that. Say it to me, yes, with the template the next person who assumes that office should be able to drive Ghana towards the right direction. And Mahama can say, I just saw a quarter term, and I think we should take that in all sincerity. Say, now, said the Constitutional Review Committee is also reported by it. Say, a third term will not suffice. That should be accepted. A constitutional body now set and a set here and on this findings number, and that's all we don't report about. So, I don't think call no class should be entertained, because you're the money John Romani Mahama and can say, you're ready to go. The Constitutional Review Committee, at the report about it, say, consult stakeholders in say they are not interested in a third term. I feel your constitution and set a threshold for whoever becomes president, and how many times is anybody as president of our country. A year say a call it for a theater for you Romani Mahama. It actually demonstrates the kind of leadership what should they actually Ghana for in the last 12 months. And I pray and hope that going forward, we'll continue to go in the right direction. So they are by 2028, Ghanaians, even if you the Obin Power Ghanaians will find a reason to, give the NDC another mandate to rule our country. Of course, so Oshe, NPP, NDC now just oppose these two political parties against our achievements in government. Clearly, the NDC stands very, 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 very tall, and it is no surprise and say NDC is a social democrat. So whenever we are in government, we try to make sure that we put the people of Ghana at the very center of everything. And that is what we've seen in the last 12 months. What happened in December during the Christmas festivities, actually the kind of Ghana you built at this particular moment. Say inflation, particularly towards Christmas, I don't know. Say inflation it may rise all the way to about 20%, 25%. But this time around, we saw inflation drop to single digits. It's around 6.something%, which is quite outrageous for a country just 12 months ago. Just over 12 months ago. Now, air crumble with inflation, with currency depreciation, and poor governance. But today, the figures and the narratives are very, very different. And it is because Romani Mahama built a certain template. And before Sobefa Kujan, he had a very clear plan in terms of how he wanted to govern this country. And we've seen how he's implemented those plans. And as we are commending Romani Mahama, we should also not forget to commend his appointees. I was talking to Peter Mensah, Deputy CEO for Tamashepiad, and I commended him, and not just him, but the entire team now. How many Romani Mahama? If you say, omo etiase, omo tini vision nase, omo tini mandate nase, and they are helping him to carry the mandate forward. And we should also, appreciate and commend them. So for 12 months, yanti say yes, appointee bi no wakwhye katashyem and I say kronobomu yanti bi and binancy it shows say appointees say Romani Mahama no me adwuma no carry the vision, the charisma and the future of your mind. Said you Romani Mahama carry no. Many High Commissioner Asia South Africa's Ghana's High Commissioner South Africa, Benjamin Kwashi Asia. I told him that Ocean demeanor, all carry no one. It's just a clear semblance of Romani Mahama, or carry at least a certain spirit. I am a part of Romani Mahama, and that is what most of the appointees have done. And that is why if you move first, say, Yama Romani Mahama a third term, it is because in the corporate I demonstrate your almost to a clear commitment towards service. And I believe that Obi Biara or person contesting in the next election, I say primaries, no Obi Leader Party should take a clue from how Romani Mahama I show leadership in the last 12 months. Now, also about on fast no money be end to 12 crams. Said the bear or man a becoso a tumpon. Macase say any befa kunyana or money ye die edaya kumaso. NDC befa kunyana or money ye die edaya kumaso. And now we know because the inflation just over 6%. Just over 6%. The CD I appreciate it by more than 40% year on year in the last 12 months. These are figures and any evidence the HS and Omano and I say any HS baby a year it's in support. And if the NDC is the party a bit of the Ghana baby or say corner, we should support the NDC regardless of who takes up the mantle, as long as any panel a demonstrated commitment towards serving our country. That person should be giving the support of the general masses. Say the bear or bit my jumano na so ye komwadwe ye we Romani Mahama say the mekande biano or you be or man he dead and akuma. So sometimes you listen to him and you feel like Kwame Nkrumah is talking. He's not serving his own interest. He's not serving his own interest. It's all about Ghana. And that is what we all wanted all along. And fortunately for us, and I've always said for him to lose the 2016 election was actually a blessing in disguise. God was actually preparing him for this moment. Just imagine a Ghana and Romani Mahama and the president after a miserable 8 years. Where would Ghana be by now? But because Romani Mahama now what a clear vision for this country, And if you can continue the tangent now, you pick it this time, for the next 10 years, I believe Ghana will be very, very far. I mean, yeah.
Great. Great. I think opening network Hanikaka, but we'll end on that. We end with his submission on the issue of the president's third term. President Angasaki against NSSM. Now, I would want us to move on to the next topic concerning or regarding Gold Board. Now, before that, first of all, let me acknowledge some of our viewers on Facebook. And Facebook, appreciation to all our viewers on Facebook. Share some about 254. I started here, which is more interesting. Which I say this year, your viewers on Moon Fire in Diagro, creation from Diagro. That must be brave. Wait, if you're not a free moon. Me message is the second topic not us. Wait, in another free moon. Says good evening, my people. Happy New Year to you and the whole team. I don't watch any other program. Only this platform. Another free moon. Papa. Someone say today Ghana is the and the content. Papa sure papa. You can't cross. So Timonko Swana, Monyan Sa Maye, Monshare Maye, Muma, Jumidi no any day. Enquich Madaroma, the must be brave. Robert Kimby says, Happy New Year, comrades. Watching from Paris, France. Robert, that's be brave. That's be brave. Frempong Befi says, I'm watching from Akuse near so many Happy New Year to you, Frempong. Any Akuse for in today Ghana News, a bit more Brunya, any New Year, to be unchained. Why? NDC, Diaspora Union, also says, great show, kudos to you, comrades, Happy New Year. Ghanaians made a good choice for voting for President Mahama and the NDC. Pacho, NDC Diaspora Union for what to say. Asampine Boachi says Happy New Year. Asampine, Happy New Year to you. Says watching and listening from Achen Himang and Yedase. Wow, Happy New Year. Thank you for the collaboration. Watching from Rara in Uti region. We if you jump from TV. Platforms in the back once I'm Happy New Year, Lawrence, and your team panel. Watching from Suhumi in the Eastern region. We if we Kuku on Eastern Fono, when I'm noticing. And check us in Komubia or share wasting. Happy New Year, watching from Lisbon, Portugal. Mahama is the hope. We if we Mavis Boatin. Lady Ma says, good evening to Dr. Abungu. We miss his lies. Hey, and the dog wamba. And the dog wamba. Oh, my carry. And here I am there. I say, watching on Twitch from St. Petersburg in Russia. Lady, Russia funny Nigeria. We if it's a Kappa family says Mahama should even be thinking about 5 term, not 10 term. Hey, Edion, watching from Jumaport near Kufuria. It do be as a Kufuria. Nkoswana Nishema is Djibouti Fua says, but that is making a very good submission. Watching from Sunyane Edasi Bebre Djibouti Fua. Nyami Yabio says the NDC have a lot of capable men and women to lead the country. Watching from Kwanta in the OT region. That's Bebre Nyami Yabio. Afisha Pakesi and come out. Nyami Yabio, I want to say, Kwame Ajimai, a good point. Really, I said your 3 points or more piaful. K3 JC. I say I'm really enjoying the show, Mr. Kwame Ajima. I like your contribution. Watching from Turkey, and I say, "Ko global, I don't know." That's the K3. Say we be able to official pa. We if me father, me apa no. I say as a non-Ghanaian but frequent visitor, I question why the leaders of public service, health, police, prisons, education are changed over when the party changes. Hey, this is very disruptive, and they should, in my view, be a political appointment. Assembly Father Peter, I've said this over and over again, because sometimes you can see somebody holding a public office and the person is doing very good, but the moment political powers changes or government changes, so whether the person is doing good or whether the person is they just take off the person out of the office. And it saddens my heart when these things happens. For all you know, they bring somebody who does not even have any idea or clue about the kind of office they are come to hold. Nepotism. Give this position to this person because he's my cousin, because it's my brother, because he's a family member. That's what we do. So anytime government changes, appointees also changes. If the person is performing, they change them because of the change of political power, which is not good. Very bad, very appalling. And I start with you, Father, Mr. Peter Hassler, my own father from the UK. Thank you for your submission. I would like us to move to the next topic. Yes, I'm penny for me na abaso. Munyinaso. Na yenko topic a edisu you. Gold board bruhaha. Sambe no. Ekoso. Now IMF Edibetu just say gold board. It lose 214 million. Now we know gold board. And so about I reject it. And we refuse these claims. Now this bruhaha na ekoso no. There yet 2 months for in Abisa must say. We know imperial listeners, I'm a model of man of free. Any part so I'm passing. The loss is really okay. And I've got a lot of questions under this to ask. Like me what questions be brave. No questions be brave. I'm person bisa. No questions be brave on this to ask. So what we are asking people and the good people of Ghana, within and outside Ghana, did Good Boy actually make these losses in its operations, or is the imperialists making those noise over nothing? Okay, before we even go straight to our panelists, let me give you a brief background. Good Boy reject IMF claims over $214 million loss in Gold Board. The Ghana Gold Board has strongly rejected claims contained in the International Monetary Funds, that's IMF, beg your pardon, fifth review report under Ghana's 3-year extended credit. Let's keep you away. In its report, IMF flagged the alleged losses as a key downside risk to Ghana's broad macroeconomic stabilization agenda, attributing them largely to trading losses under the artisanal and small-scale mining. Samri Good Board say, I've listened to some impenophobia submissions be on making. Now, if you can say there, what baffles my mind? The I mean, say, if Good Board are rejecting claims way, then we have some people also coming up to tell us, say, yes, there losses in the bank. Na no a policy we no near the na ma case losses na say you can eduma na nkasa de enya de deliberately loses career, which is a broma adwene menti so. Now I've got some few questions. You see then na ye ton gold no, why na ye ton ma no? Say ye boka, is it still a programmer say ye ntena so na ye boka over $214 million. Why na ye ton ma no? And so far no concerns and confumpo raising about a sole buyer, Mammy Fancy aggregator, And also a better topic for discussion about rock. The question is no, baby bro. Open your mind way there, whom so. I mean, so would my crisis na the can go. I'm start opening Bennett so. Now, ye me and saying, na young copy, ye na age in a hair. Opening IMF reporting. Gold board, I refuse. A banner sign, and sa Nokware Mmre saying and a losses we all. And why are we still on the same platform or the stand on the same tangent? Sa business in a lose. Open Bennett.
Yo, I mean, I'm a DCP. Monfan Chemina, more duty into no one a call abana. I interject me net. Yeah, into Minia. I have been a forex trader for almost 10 years. I trade the forex market, and when it comes to a normal movie commodity prices and currencies, I'm quite versed in them. And so even before Gold Board institution, I had always advocated say Ghana needed a body like Gold Board, because over countries to say Australia are a major producer of gold. Over countries to say Canada are a very big producer of gold. Even the United Kingdom need gold mine, yeah, but a very big gold reserve. All these countries, currencies are backed by gold. Oko Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia currency has been relatively very stable against the USD for the past how many years? It is all because the Saudi currency is pegged against oil reserves and also oil production. Oko Australia, the Australian dollar is pegged against gold because that is what they produce in large quantities. Oko Canada, that is same. Oko, all the major countries don't produce gold now. That's what they do. Their currencies are backed by gold. Not necessarily how much gold you have in your reserves, but how much you're able to sell on the international market and bring foreign reserves into your country. And I had always said that Ghana needed a body that would make sure that we are able to aggregate all our gold into one basket so that we know how much gold we are selling. And likely for Ghana and for the people of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama came with that beautiful plan. And we've all seen the impact of Gold Board on the Ghanaian economy. Now, it's going to be very difficult to measure or quantify the impact of Gold Board in the last 12 months. But we between 2020 and 2024, how inflation, wiped out of amount for at a point in time, inflation reached over 56%. What that meant is that for capital that would be and also salary and now are depreciated by more than 56%. And then by Ken courtesy Gold Board, yen inflation are dropping all the way to a single digit. Yen CD appreciated by more than 40% in the last 12 months. The economic impact of this cannot be quantified. And I think that is what all of us should be considering. At a point in time, Canada can say because of currency depreciation, any inflation will lose over $150 million in less than 1 week. So if one person, Canada lose $150 million in less than 1 week because of currency depreciation, you can imagine how much money Ghanaians lost to currency depreciation between 2020 and 2024. Can we say $240 million now administrative cost to the Bank of Ghana? No, says you cannot change Ghana for Lucy in the last 4 years now. That's not. Gold Board.
Are you backing the loss? Are you defending the loss?
I'm reading the report. There is nowhere in the report IMF stated clearly say Gold Board are making losses. That $240 million, it is not directly attributed to the operations of Gold Board. A Bank of Ghana, a policy, and no more operations and I incur that cost. But we should not forget, say, the reason why in our cost we have and say, you build gold board and any gold for reserves, and it's a buffer, any young gold reserves, so that there will be enough liquidity, dollar liquidity in the system to boost, trade. And the economic impact of that, objective, has been realized. In the last 12 months, the cedi has been relatively very stable. Inflation has dropped quite considerably. Those are the kind of factors we need to begin to look at. Now, as I said here, you can say, you charge 10 billion Ghana cedis at your healthcare infrastructure. How do you quantify, say, $10 billion in additional healthcare infrastructure? You back. You cannot quantify that because healthcare provision is a policy initiative, and gold board institution, a policy institution. The core objective is say and help them and bring foreign reserve, and I said hard currencies into our country. And we all know said in the last 12 months, gold board had over $10 billion and our show by through in operations away. And say if you didn't quantify a year investment they share healthcare more because a policy. How do we quantify the loss gold board and make it in the operations when the main objective of gold board and say on make it profit? Name on your policy interventionist initiative Emma a binding Bank of Ghana. They pay your gold no $dollars above my name.
Wait, let me go right to my next question. Who can policy interventions now? In me educated Ghanaians on some of the fundamental structures involved in this. I bet me coming into a common platform just for the Ghanaian to understand what actually this is.
Okay. My main concern being Ghana for the reason why in here over the years, Abrebia you see and see no and what they form and they say need enough dollars our system no more. We always had shortages of foreign reserves and I say foreign currencies, particularly dollars our no. And so the gold board and mandate are buying demand and they say you will gold with the bill no. Neso so ye won kwofo almost to go dimbi fa kwa be so the free o man mu kwa yentimi you nim the quantity of gold that if you man ko at a point in time gold that you declare say ye export that come from farmers no you call Dubai in India ko hwe no na ye more than double of the ye man mu no into aban say yen set up gold board na gold board enye more or less like an aggregator only the gold na you too free a small scale miners ni na ho na onon konkoton one secondary Bank of Ghana ho na on yi size kan fankoto gold no in cedis na on fanko for jama so konkoton na on pack dollars embra me show man mu. That is what gold board and yen yen say business and as adwuma bia obi aye adwuma ye fe bi administrative cost e say you sika wo dey boss adwuma no ho bra. And so gold board in the adwuma dia wo di in partnership with Bank of Ghana no enye den ya ombe hia sika mo dey say adwuma no na mom ye hwe gold board adwuma dia wo di in the last 12 months ye hwe sika o da ba show man mu na ye hwe sa e kana ye sa ba be da ho na we are saying say economic benefit ese ene offer keyetia and also call central marketer ukuta 100 cities ultimately didwa ekodino almost 1 week na e say gold board adwuma dia omudi ye no e so bampaso. If you say, na yes, $40 in promise so man, na yen sika samono enyina brane, na elmanu munyu na enya komunye. And that is what yen na you witness this time. Omanu and aduane yafo, anka December, January, anka aduane ho ya den omanu, ene aduane bo for mo omanu. If you say, and no man na fertilizers, any idea na ke in cedi, $40 koko for ba na kama na boy de no. And because there is enough dollars, courtesy gold board operations, and then fertilizer ball from and the farmer no kokoto a ball for no da or the queer na se ba on so beton to sin for me nyetimi atobi. So these are the measures and as the parameters or see a share you say gold board operations no enso so be no dey about man mu ni so no be ni say ene inflation aba to a single digit yen see no I appreciate by more than 40% against the US dollar and now we know can say yen debt to GDP and then 63% just over 12 months ago no your debt to GDP had dropped to about 46%, representing over 100 billion Ghana cedis. And a car in 2014 and 2024, say na yesi ekutwa kana export by over 100 billion cedis.
I think opening Bennett Manuanos. Stay on that. Mamenko opening Ajima. Now, maybe some say if indeed we are losing this amount of money and because of the structures near the administrative cost, no, then going forward, quite ben soon I fast one to Tieben even though no we still brought in some money and there are still other losses, no. Then are going forward, no. All these losses no can come back to us because when this thing happens now, it means it affects a lot of things. Right now, there are a lot of projects going on, and you hear we are say because just a loss, but I can't affect school be project, affect a quite be, and to I bend the one you make sure say some of these loopholes here one administrative person they know you be Syria, Yensabeka Isika opening.
Minya medawase na masa achi T4 say odima about the second episode of the show. Iti mede aseda ebema. And answer na meba o questions yi mame enka endra sebia na obi ka chem say o hwe at the rate of my penny John Dramani Mahama betna kunwa so for the past 1 year. Na nyema kuyi na 2025 Brunya Ghana for yantes ya to akoko buomu emo boanya de anwa boanya de na enema ekoto tina na impo ye JDM betna so na Israel ene Iran for ekontokwa senka yo mampanyi dada nanado na woso a enka enra America for ne Venezuela for friends issues yi kikutia ho tax enti ya di aseda bema already simple obetna so na Israel for any Iran for ntokwa yentu ya ho tax na impo Venezuela for issue ya ekoso ya be for muma mpanyi say nanado na woso sisie ya ke beje ho to say Venezuela against America was itu ato esan so mutimi di covid tax ABC 2020 425 ansa no already dim ebabi ye firi hono eno kra no mo so mo amoka nese ene obi be gina ba bi betum futuru egu nipa ni se good board aboka na mi ni ba bi nipa no o de nasem na de o di free ba dedi kama menchi uru asem gemfire bia obi ano ma menchi ano esanse owunim de mesre yakopon ehia e de amane se onkoso mani nim de o mano ahobombo sonko na onkoso konenim empanyimfo akanto was dom ani so de oson ntakrache enti se obi bon homoden asa na Ghana yetie e be fa meet bia se ye de be pull you down no Ghana for dodo na yesu na ese wanya bibia moase a yenyae mono krono enti se ne wura asami jamfi osi bon homoden Ghana empu metima ka se the most perform part of over JDM amemu asat this time 70% ejina Ghana good board eye uru asami jamfi ta wode abetai o mampanyi JDM amemu na chi amaniema ejina sisi eti enye nwanwa se obumbehwe because yene opposition NPP ene etie enti kwan bi obefa so obesa futuro de agu gali mu bia no obesa de agum na yesi good board ye ton de ne boka ne koto de ne boka a non-profit organization enti we don't need so we be catch us say yakoton bibia boka say ya anhwe ema obi ansay forest na gold no yehu ba bi ebefa na yetimi agigi gold ni nyina aboa no de agu kentenku ba kum e de akogye amano ne sika e de aba be support mu yesidi no enya hoɔden no eno ti o se be sem futuro gu mu se ye boka nti yenja ya na asese o mine bay ena odi gold ku drama so a ono okoton ne de wansi de akogye 50 pesos e kire se ya boka ka ya bono ene de ehe ye boka wo fa he okay kind good board oko mu website eke kind omo report wa there's nothing shows say good board aboka even kwano ohwe with the commencement of this board now for the past munu 1 year omo kwano gains omonya no is almost 960 million Ghana cedis so what I say because ohwe senior what do you call a month for any abre register charges any other form of gains a eba mu na omukra na enya sika esene se obi beka se umaboka yeni am say na Dr. Bongo beka so akogye friends licenses to acquire good ball licenses na e cost o say eno kwa na nya meto good no enti to acquire ube process a ube form nyina sa na obinya licenses obeto good no rather okra na odiske ekoma good board enti therefore obi beka se Ghana good board aboka na nipa mini ba bi okonya na nsem de efriye because or the South Africa for good and or they compare Ghana for the say South Africa for to good 1 kilo $5 and yet the aton $3 ni aboka na say so that say
you can say na o ka say IMF report no so nya ne credit na
oh mean ka say no credit ye no position MPP net here enti kwan bi obefa so obetum futu egu ye garam bia no obefa so because one wo tanfo tia be very careful so that say na make say omanpanyi JDM na membo atime gina kese pa 2025-26 ayeku enim no e kese egina Ghana good boy enti for you to pull this amambo down also tackle enti no wonder so be na printing the results be free baby aba say oba cancer asem so that say because expenditure good board omo NK for the past year commencement of this administration a year 120 billion Ghana cedis. So what I say, comprehensive surplus omunya 80 billion. So therefore, there 5. And hifa, any di good kudra yanto. Ayo kubo ni dunko mi ede e kabre. Yasi asemu ni dasi you be
the administrative cost na ye kanana.
Made it me media minimum say. Enye no kore. Enye no kore so baby say. Say ansa na beka so bi aboka no. Obeye compare and contrast. Or mine be good and are the only compare say ye the na e fake kurenti ya anto ene yakohwiegu na ya boka anasa bien ana good so what ya ma fe the good ne de kudra ye to bi wa na sese so e kana ya bone boka o de be ho sese so that say obi kan sam a no ahwe ba bi a odi free ba so that say wo mo ho say afi when ya quality governance omunye bibia enka wonya obi said na me no benet e kan all the ministries all the appointees obi e comporto no enti wonya bibi na de ba betake say minister wi akwakọ yisi enti therefore ye de ba betake o manpanyi GDM enti ye kofa mfiri hanum si na ye na grand support a enti ama na mamu na gina enti se MPP ye ne ti Ghana na all ka sam de mumi enti mienu what I say because ye ne MPP na ti o mamu o man friends say obedi friends amanu ko obedi akonu otimi twa nyankopon ko atro say nipa we be ka tro say good board aboka wo die di enye MPP no mka so musi friends cathedral ma nyankopon ko motimi atwa no to na ho abiu enti say baby a omoka o masem free no any good board no yen fa bibia nko bi a ye kwakoton se bia de good ye de ko na ISPI enti ya anto ti therefore ya boka so therefore ya boka o de ho so I say enti ensam a friends ba no meka so ye montumu enya se biare isu ginam ye pe omo pe means just to sabotage the government omo all the ministries across the length and the breadth of the ministries omo nyo bi entake no enti therefore yen ko fa free hand say na support eye enye NDC friends enye MPP ya say CD etimi egina said dollar abafom NNPP ya said 2025 December na yanto akukọ bu yanto anwom yanto emu say nipa we beka to say good board aboka na ebe so hana. I don't think that the rate yen NDC speed the corner said be can we don't need side mirrors to look behind whoever is coming. What I say, we are moving at a rate high speed that we don't need to look behind because we are above traffic level. See, a case NPP want to draw us back into our traffic jam. When you are flying in the sky, you don't need competition because there's no competition in the sky. And I want to say, I see play me no crash and tell you see, send a car in accidents frequently, no, because in the traffic level, no, you can be knocked down at any given point in time. And we NDC at the rate I hear you take it off, no, we don't need to look behind whoever is coming. And since someone moving in a mess for so move to move, and you know, rather, you can't even so prosper na aba if it's a good board na. It's far better than another. I'm a move 8 years. Send your mutimi egada Ghana good. Say Ghana few. Say Ghanans as in Ghana quiet now. And the woman who said, "And yema assassin, you better miss bia just to pull you down." Until you are some medium fee. Mesre, koso, kuramudiemu, nyakukudro minimum so ya kukudro for. Be bold, koso, ne ye ujuma na NDC. Yentimi kuye ni mniye fe ntuma papefra. Sa sami jamfi the contribution me pacho the contribution e cost den I don't know call for go DDM either third term fourth term ni nyina ka ho bi enti to tackle gold board no MPP omo primary focus our person we now we are not ready to discuss this. We are not in the traffic jam with them. We are in the sky. We don't need any competition. There's no competition in the sky. That is why shape and play don't have side mirrors. We are not ready to look behind whoever is coming. We are taking off air caught at the greater speed than air corner. You know, be any competition. The here say ya ponti say ya ponti no. Ombe mo when ya grassroots Ghanaian at large. Near Koso. The best say ubia homa asem send na MPP time. Or more ministers no more pontis or more bad records no a bigger bad records no. You better say NDC at our time no or match 1 year there's no minister in trouble. There's no appointees are when your problem be. And to make means be just to tackle the primary source.
I've got barely 10 minutes. At this point and at this juncture no.
I think say friends say NDC
what you also for the next 3 minutes. And I'll give Bennett for Bennett for I think 5 minutes. Then Muslim for 2 minutes. And we'll submission in the next 3 minutes, ma'am.
So the mekano Ghana a good board. Eno na aboa ama yakuyenim. And therefore will be the country say yaboka and yanokre. Yento hwe yemfo obi a Saudi Arabia for good. Enku Ghana Saudi Arabia for aton mo de $10,000 near the after the $5 and yanokre.
Now, after now, so far, no, the whole go board, no more just one aggregator. One aggregator, no, and has it got to do any with political interest?
No, it doesn't have with any political interest. Yeah, near say, yeah, boy, mine hoban. And at the rate are not good. 18 minutes of mine Ghana, million. Say, yet Ghana's assassin, ye good. Ope Ghana for more good chain and as a good watcher. I think say a bit more my pen more friends say good wedding ring. Asa. Now when you be it's not good free or man day in and day out free or man econo. Then yeah a good one. Equa or more India for no crown good free or man we say equal India no. It's more than the war man had a war man. Sorry I say. And the new man penny even more better so. What's it? Yeah more boy good nina no. Na ya fama nipa baako no fa nkoko je sika emra me support you CD na. I don't think that you are making any idea. Say na kebeka say Ghana Cocoa Board so
and I feel like I say mumbi so
because all the it was a good boy, a new baby border. Me pacho, me say a good board, a new baby border. As time goes on, we are the name of communication because won't me say back home people na friends a yam here boke. Maybe me no name yes. Sorry, I say we need to sit down and structure. So okay, ye say be boy. Paying e wonim di e wo nyansa omode ne me de egu akwam ti ye say ye be biem ema I very competitive. I think say a rifle direction and yet this time into ye be German paying for no mashe a coin power for some movies of fast or beboa near na fugina say mumuntu good mode or more can ne emo kachina ye good no you to Ghana no and short to ye and sign ye and obi abeka say good nasa and na sika no si nya ye nya no kwe.
But we heard yet say Penny Bennett kase there's something we call administrative cost. Now I think no or explaining and
administrative costs are not
so far no Kabia mine and the other then me feel it's confusing here.
Me pacho any confusion minimum because administrative costs which is expenditures are because all running a and I'll be running with expenditure and near a car getting use within the organization. So I say compared to their expenses are almost gains are umanya, which is me I don't call this one profit because to gain nipa don't say na register good board for the licenses. Sika omudia bem any cost because all around we see na you cars, you buildings, you hear a whole lot of things. But I say we call that one expenditures. What within organization. Young company, young contrast, and young say any part of one and I call G good licenses. Young sika omudia good. Young sika a friend say good board on my care. Apart from being said no, we are talking about internal good board expenditure. Enti minimum a friend say contradiction bia is a rifle direction good board and more ka senior ya tamfo can say good board di good akwama no nya oboka and na make say Ghana for montungu ye Ghana ye cotton good and more ka say Saudi Arabia for the good akọ omo de ko give 10,000 na Ghana for the $5. That is what I'm saying. It's a good board and more ka and only the etinya ball mine na me see etinya ejina enti MPP so just to sabotage so what I say because omunya bibi enka to mba betu ogun na good board aboka obi amoka ye fa because good board a non-profit organization nti kana ya bona ne de so what I say ye kwa no ye rather na ye hwe so man de economy ebitimi o man bitimi fa no to my preference nti e kana ya bona ne de so what I say say the make am say MPP na tie adwam sisi a enka Venezuela case ki kutua ho to. Sorry, I say. Enti, omunya bibi enka. Omasha from Minister of Education, from Minister of Forestry bibi an omunya hwe enka. Therefore, yem fan kofa hanum si. Ti be mfi se emfutru no mpese omosa edigu Ghana for aduane. Sorry, I say. Ti medi manu si no. Ma mention Uganda for nyina say on the 15th. I'm talking about Uganda coming election. On the 15th of January, I entreat everyone to go and vote peacefully and remember our sister Jacqueline Achan. Vote for our dear sister on the 15th of January 2026 for the upcoming election in Uganda. Now, for you mention me and Kasa Mabusian nyinaa wɔ ɔman kronkron Ghana mu. Me nua Emmanuel no baby will be a bet you now for mention friends ɔwɔ me Elizabeth Bodua so mama baby will be a bet you. Now mention me and Kasa me nua Yadom. Why are they pa na wama show no aye crab hwe nya minister pa ya do ma yen kasa wa chire ho mejo pa na kasa wa chire ho
Mr. Yadom na I think earlier now we network ne how aka me 6 minutes bi mema 5 number for 1 ready time so pepe Mr. earlier we were touching on the fundamentals na I think we network ne how kakra then we am better will touch on why up to now Ghana has just one sole buyer aggregator and conforce ebisa nsem mo
yo me na me da sipi na say na menua menua kwame adjumai ekano. There's a clear distinction between administrative costs and administrative losses.
Okay.
There's a clear distinction, and we should get it right. Say you can say administrative cost, and not just say administrative law. That's your boka. No. Adwuma bia ye wo sika sebe ye de bo dwuma die no ho bra. Ye wo sika ye de bo dwuma die no ho bra. Say sika ye de bo ho bra na enye loss. Enye loss, until we should get it right. Now, assuming without admitting, say, Gold Board, Aboka, said the NPP for Nekano, said the mechanic, IMF report, and there is no way in the IMF report that just say, Gold Board in particular, Aboka. In 2022, as much as our NPP for a year, just 0.76 metric tons of gold, and then the total value in US dollars, a year for $43.96 million. No. Bought a car in 2022. Bought car over 74 million Ghana cedis through gold for reserve. Deal now. A car buying a boy and I said Bank of Ghana boy now. 2023. Only 24.87 metric tons. As a car you free in dollars. A year $791.82 million. A car buying a boy. A year 2.15 billion Ghana cedis. In 2024, just the year before last year, yamu a 45.3 metric tons. Sika de ba o man na ye $3.12 billion. A car ban boy in this a 4.84 billion Ghana cedis. Now in 2025, Gold Board a total of 103 metric tons. Sika ye de about man $10.8 billion. Assuming without admitting, say, Yaboka $214 million, which translates to about 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. If we compare Gold Board operation, any revenue on the above minimum, near compare losses against 2024 the Pukana, Gold Board are way better because with $10.8 billion, losses are make here and as administrative cost, just over $3 billion, 3 billion Ghana cedis, and before $3.1 billion. Administrative cost in cities was 4.84 billion Ghana cedis for just $3 billion. Gold Board are $10 billion. Over $10 billion. They only spent just over 3 billion Ghana cedis, which is way smaller compared to 2024 numbers. No, and see, clearly, NPP were looking for something to actually tag the government with, and this thing came up. Unfortunately for them, there has been voices of conscience. Said we should leave Gold Board alone because everybody is feeling the impact of that organization in their pockets. And then because the BRA at the new tax regime reduce the tax all tax regime from 25% to about 20%, putting about over 10 billion Ghana cedis in our pockets per year. These are things that come as a result of the operations of Gold Board. So the medical care, every country produces gold, and use gold as a buffer. So with Ghana being the largest producer of gold in Africa and the 7th in the world, we should be able to capitalize on that to support our currency and support our economy. And luckily for us, there are no umpania or general mine. When we say side and boy, you're not so for so baby. Minia, now, Kafa, a year, the entire, you are only one aggregator. Oh, man. Minia, a your Oman Sika and a day to gold. No, and the entire Okoji Sika or bank and a car. You say, for insurance and then say, you say anything can happen in the course of things. That's a BBC. How do you get a buffer to actually cushion yourself up again? I mean, South Africa, you say, for BBI, friend warranty, and I say, guarantor, Ebra. guarantor na say BBC a say nipa na ebetimi afre na say oh asem say asi una odi mu so what I said enti we aggregator you say call any bank call any insurance company no more or less a letter of credit just said you are credit worthy to represent the government of Ghana in the purchase of gold. What could do to me as a letter need be from any bank or any insurance company the bar. A bank can trust you. No one said, even if you're the Bank of Ghana and Ghana physical master for gold or human. Now be seen as a share. Insurance and a bank, you know, a bit your Ghana banker. And so we need to can be and so we need assurance now. There is no way a bit my sacrifice Ghana Posika. I mean, there is one thing we are doing so well, and that is economic prudence. We are making sure that every single cent meant for the public, you know, is properly accounted for and properly put to use. We're not going to sacrifice the sweat of Ghanaians, no matter what the NPP put across. Initially, they came out to say, Bauer Limited, a company, just incorporated, you know, last year, but records just said they were incorporated back in 2015. Just back in 2015, they only did a change of name, not change of substance, which means that one is that only a change of name, so almost the sound would make a crabby, but when it comes to substance or subject, they didn't change anything. Or more operations or more modus operandi, the same. They are into food production, they are into gold production, they are into a whole lot. And from registration, from incorporation in 2015 up until now, it's still the same. Our modus operandi, our operations are the same. And the end before on propaganda, it doesn't have substance. It is just a matter of a group of people trying to find faults where there is no fault. As the mechanic, a byway and the appointees have demonstrated clear leadership and clear commitment towards a service. And it is the reason why, according to Musa Dankwa, 67% of Ghanaians believe the country is headed in the right direction.
But for any simame,
but that's Miriam. A year Israelite, a year Paul, the Facebook channel and the WhatsApp channel. More than 80% of Ghanaians say they are happy with the way things are going, and that if they were given another opportunity to vote for a government, they will repeat what they did in 2024. That is what we are talking about. We have, rebuilt the public confidence in government. Governance is built on perception. If the people have a perception, say abano and then no year, people will lose trust in the government. Fortunately for this administration, because of clear commitment they demonstrated to the people of Ghana, and the Ghana follow now we should say abangwe no year. So the government has the support of the people of Ghana. And that is what we should look at. And that is what we should not, toil with. We should not play with that at all. Yes. We should not play with that. We should instill confidence in leadership, instill confidence in governance, and build a new set of encopoa. That is the kind of country I pay. And they make actually Ghana for minimum, they make actually Ghana for say we should have confidence in this government. We've seen a Kufuor administration for 8 years, and we've seen what Elijah Mahama has done in the last 12 months. And we can, if we just oppose the two administrations, we can clearly tell which government and or what good intention for our country. And for this reason, I believe that the GDA any support my by now in the next 3 years. Of course, after 2028, NDC will continue again. If we can give the NDC another 15 years to lead this country, trust me, this country will be in a better position than it is right today. Okay, GDP, the nominal figures, GDP.
Just over, I've exceeded my time.
Next week, may I say a better also.
In fact, I never managing next week. One next week, Behami. And I say the same. Medo Bibia say na mama mu ina so official pa. Openi Charles Ajiman, a member of the NDC Diaspora Communicators Network. Sansona Openi Bennett Kunedu Yado, founder of the NDC Communicators Network. Penifune ne omuji edwa. Omuni ndie ne munyansa beta adwumedi chia. Samre omudi nchiremu ene omunso adwen nchire. Abre yeda mo ase bebre say mo adwen dwumedi Nokware Mmre live on TodayGhanaNewsTV. Obi bia o share bibi bia obi a o share the messages, some comment by mo shares ni na no we appreciate that mu na say that day na since last year no mo this year so mo ne edin sa so that obi bia say mo ye ne saman pacho na me fa akwanya we su na ma we hye miko worker me amenia Francis time with Francis happy belated birthday next say nye easy cry ye di cake ni family na me nsanka bi so di na echi no nyamisha no na afu a we si mi onye nkese sounds na make obi as African art food music culture no festival and exhibition no wa Armenia ya launch August we are 2026 neighbor so for registration please number of friend +37455 850 811 +37455 850 811 and I said +233 45254 5815 baby bia wo bia no jumedi show yedi boost African culture no food exhibition everything Africa anything Africa bia no exhibition e be cause Armenian pacho prempenifo na number si amde atudwe oni omunkasa oni omunim sa wo so na yin kwan wo so be fa so a obi a promote African bibia for Africa bia no wetimi edo ho agi jumedi mu ma afa medo bibia se me pani me boss me producer me boss me director me bibia ba ko set adi ni me na sekese nkoma se dali de na o hwema jumedi ati se ekoso e wo Ghana ni biase afa ni na nkofo enya bre na omuti Nokware omuso kire mo adwen me amedi jumedi hu chia me medin Lawrence apini yebo anya me aduma de sende ye besen hia 6 pm pepepe na jumedi nu asha senti pacho hye so samre ye jawi enya me nko na me jumedi nu e wo so jumedi bebre wo so nti make sure say obekoso ID TodayGhanaNewsTV echi na ye jumedi ayi na nso no wode wa ho de onimdie no nyansa wo shares ni na no ebe tachi sele be ya jumedi na channel we ebe kese na ye kra be hye nyame adoma de sende menu be hia bi e wo Nokware Mmre show you so live on TodayGhanaNewsTV sisi ade makram bedase
Open